So welcome everybody. Lovely to see you all. I know I've said this before, pretty much, I think I have. But it can't help but sound as though those who speak about this know what they're talking about. It's probably the biggest dilemma, and yet it is the freedom to speak about this. That it's very obvious that I don't know what I'm speaking about. And I don't doubt for a moment that no one knows. If they're speaking about this, then they don't know what they're speaking about. Now, when I was going to listen to those who I thought knew what they were speaking about, I wouldn't have believed that. I didn't believe it. Even if they said it very clearly, I never believed it. And now it's obvious why I didn't believe it. It's because I needed to hope that they did know. Because of course, if they knew, then I could know too. And I wanted to know. You want to know. I don't doubt that you want to know. So the wonder is that this isn't about knowing at all. And so you end up saying things like, this is about not knowing or unknowing. But that's as bullshit as knowing. Because of course there isn't any unknowing without knowing. The nearest I've got to it, maybe in language, is to say that the illusion is that you do know, knowing from not knowing. That you know the known, and you know the known as different, as other than the unknown. You know what you know, and you know what you don't know. I'm suggesting you don't. I'm suggesting no one does. No one has, ever. No one could. And the most amazing thing is that there's not a problem in not knowing any difference between knowing and not knowing. And there is unconditional love in that, because there can be no experts. There can be no one who knows more about this, about everything, about nothing, than anyone else. By anyone, I mean any human beings, past or present, or to come. It's all wishful thinking. It's all fairy stories of special ones. There are no special ones. And I, like you, long to be special. Even if I made ordinariness the specialness, I could be the most ordinary. Even if I made failure as my specialness, I'm the biggest failure. That's quite popular. Self doesn't mind what specialness it has, as long as it's not nondescript. The wonder is that when there are no special ones, of course, every single human being is equally special in their absolute ordinariness. And so the desire to be special can seem to die. And if the desire to be special dies, then really you could say you die. I die. I don't, because I never was. I never was special. There never was me separate from anything else. There were never others to see my specialness, even if they told me I was special. You know, when others told you were special, you never believed them anyway, because you thought you were shit. So, but there is a wonderful, easy lightness to the impossibility of specialness. It's maybe what most speakers mean by liberation. Maybe they don't mean it. I could say that's what I mean if I talk about liberation from the constant sense of not good enough. And so the striving to be worthy because of feeling unworthy. So it's not that you're unworthy, it's that it's impossible for you to be worthy. That's the love. There's no one who's worthy or unworthy. No one who's closer or further away. No one who knows more or less about what we're speaking of, which is everything and nothing. So all relative knowledge seems to be put in its place, which is in the world of knowledge, of the relative. And that then knowledge is it's not irrelevant, it's relatively relevant. That's what it is, all knowledge. And it can be, it's beautiful. But it doesn't make anyone better. And so the desire for knowledge, the motivation to learn, unless there's just pure pleasure in it, can seem to die. And there can be a downside to this. If I was saying what's the worst aspect of what seems to have happened, is the absence of motivation for self-improvement. Because that's all I ever fucking did. That's all I did. My whole life. My life was one constant self-improvement program. But I mean, I get why self does it. I'm always busy, aren't I? There's always plenty for me to do because I can always be better. So, and what is really obvious now is that's the majority of nearly every human being's daily life. Striving to be better, and even more so for many, fear of losing what I've already got. terror. Terror at the thought of decline, losing. So the wonderfully, dreadfully, wonderfully good news is that you already have nothing. So there's nothing to lose. Whatever you say you have, you don't have that. It appears or not. No one has anything. It's such an incredible equality, an unimaginable equality. But you do lose all your heroes. They fall. I mean all of them. You want to keep one or two. You know. You don't mind a few of your heroes falling by the wayside. In fact, you know, it's quite freeing to get rid of a bit of baggage, but you know, you need, but you might still have a soft spot for Buddha or Jesus or whoever, you know, whoever's on the tallest pedestal. And so there's no climbing, there's no ascension, there's no achievement, there's no enlightenment, there's no awakening, there's no one to do any of that, there's no one to achieve any of that. And it might be starkly obvious that you were the only one who was ever interested in any of that anyway. No one else gave a shit. And I mean, even those who were close to you and, you know, really you felt were supporting you, they couldn't care less. They were really afraid that you were going to pass them in the race to get nowhere. So although it may sound nihilistic, that there's nothing to be achieved, it's really not at all. Because there isn't anything to be lost. Nihilism is like the loss of everything, and there's nothing to be lost. Everything is. Everything is. There's no nihilism in everything is. It may sound it when I say, but of course everything isn't. But that doesn't negate everything is. That's the great paradox that you won't get. So everything's wonderfully as it is. Including everything that you don't want, as well as everything you like.